Hello, hello, everybody. Gonna give it a few minutes for people to get on. And so y'all can get your laptops or iPads or computers all set up. I posted the files, the JPGs for the event in the let's make the light, whatever it was. Oh my gosh. The event page, the files that we're going to be using are there. I also posted a link to the picsdg.com site, and I posted a link to a quick tutorial on how to use that site to convert pictures. So I'm super excited. I hope you all are too. So I'll be working on my laptop here to show you how to do it. This is the design or similar that we're going to be making, this design. This will work as a wrap. It will work for your tumbler tape or your vinyl. You can do it in a solid color vinyl if you want to. Personally, I did it both ways, and I really loved how the tumbler tape came out. I had posted a picture last week of the cup. The only thing that I really wasn't super nuts on was the lettering, and that's something that, you can chop that out and put other letters in. Of course, you can use this process for anything. You don't have to do Be Kind if you don't want to. I mean, you could do anything. So this is just kind of like, I thought this was fun. It's a cute design, but like I said, a lot of people don't know how to do this. They have no idea how to make a template. And I am so big on teaching people how to do stuff. So first of all, you're going to save a ton of money when you learn how to make your own templates. And you're also going to know that they work, because I can't tell you, like on Etsy and stuff like that, I've gotten files and they don't work. They don't cut right. They don't do stuff the way that I want them to. So I just kind of threw in the towel on that and learned how to make my own. So that's why I want to show everybody how to do this. So let me finish setting up here. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes. I need to make a quick cup of coffee, which takes like 2 seconds. But I wanted to start a minute early so that people could get gathered, get their laptop set up. Hopefully you did download the pictures so that you can, and if you don't know how to do that, just message me and I'll explain how to do it. Or post it here and I'll quickly explain how you kind of copy over a photo or a JPG from either Google or from a link in the group on how to do that. So give me just a couple, like 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. So settle back, make yourself some coffee or tea or have an adult beverage. I know it's early, but sometimes it's Sunday. And we'll get going. All right. Make sure you say hi when you're here. And also, little red live button right up there by my big old finger means I'm actually live. And I will be able to immediately answer questions and things like that. If you're coming in late and you miss it and you're watching the replay, please hashtag replay so that I know that you were here. I also love feedback. I am a huge fan of feedback. Make sure you tell me, did you like it? Did I explain things well enough for you? All that does is that helps me to make a better tutorial for you guys. So you guys give me just 1 minute. I need to get my power cord too for my phone because I forgot to grab that. So I will be right back. All right, got the power cord. Coffee is on the brew. And just gonna plug in my phone so it doesn't crap out in the middle of the tutorial, because that really stinks when that happens, right? So, 1 second here, plugging in the phone. Oik, come on. Hold on, I gotta lift this up. There we go. There we go. All right. So I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're all excited. I have so many great tutorials lined up for you guys over the summer and into fall. It's just going to be so cool. And if there's things you want to learn, please let me know. Definitely love it when people tell me, will this be saved? That's a good question, Lisa. Facebook is very unkind to me. While I do try to save them on the page here, a lot of times Facebook, for some reason, deletes the lives. So what I did was I made a YouTube channel just for the tutorials that I do here, and yeah, so you can join that if it disappears. Okay, so this was the idea for the design that I wanted to do, and it takes a bit to do, and I'm not gonna kid you. It really does take a while to do. But again, once you learn how to do this, it's so good, because then you can do it with anything. You can do any design that you want. You can do Christmas stuff. You can do other holiday stuff. You can just do cool stuff. I'm working on a Ouija board template, and it's like a bunch of Halloween ones too. And I'm super excited about that. And I'll probably be doing some lives on some of those other ones. All right, let me just find my post so that I can see your questions. Yep, I have all my tutorials, like the snow globe tumbler one from last weekend. I just did it. I just put that up. I put up the post on the tutorial on how to take a JPG or what is it, JPG, GIF, sometimes will work, and transfer those into an SVG, which is really cool. It's good to know how to do that stuff. 1 second, guys. I'm trying to find my live here. This, like, the feed is just a mess. Sorry. But then I won't be able to see your questions. This is annoying me. One second. There we go. Finally. Okay, now I got it. All right, so we're ready to roll. Okay, so here's what you want to do. So you're going to open. Now I'm doing this in Design Space. I have never used Silhouette Business or any of those Silhouette programs yet. I am going to be getting Silhouette Business. So we're working with Design Space. And as everybody knows, Design Space is very flawed and it has 1,000 problems, and they keep adding unnecessary stuff and they don't fix the things that need to be fixed. And that can be a source of frustration. So I'm sure you will see me getting frustrated. So what we're going to do is we are going to, I'll post it later. It's Kiri's Magical Creations. And I'll post a link for you guys later. I can't do it right now. So what you're going to do is you're going to start off with a fresh new page. So you come up to the top and you click new, and you have this beautiful screen. There's absolutely nothing on it. And you have already loaded your SVGs that you're going to be using onto your Design Space, which you then click upload. Now this shows you, upload shows you all of your all of your pictures that you converted, or any files that you have, which is different than the My Projects tab, which is up here. And My Projects is actually something that, these are all the things that you've made. So anything, once you save your design, it will go into the My Project area. And then, you know, you will have a whole bunch of really awesome files. So anyhow, that's how you find it. So you're going to click on new, and then you're going to go to upload. And I have done this several ways. I have gone one at a time and brought them in and placed them where I want them. Or sometimes I'll just pop them all in there. So I know that I want to have my Be Kind. So I'm clicking on that. And what it does is it puts a green outline around it so that you know that that file will go on. I want to use my drip, which is here. Now, Google has probably, 10,000 different drip styles. I highly recommend that when you're capturing pictures, make sure that they're course free and not copywritten, and to save. But I do recommend that you get it in black and white. It's really hard sometimes to do a conversion on color. So if you have stuff, let's say your drip was purple or pink or something like that, it's very difficult to do that sometimes with the Pick SVG conversion site. It's a free website. It doesn't cost anything to use. So, of course, it's very limited. But in a pinch, it works very, very well. We're going to want our drip. And then we're going to want this nice little bee over here. This design here, I'm not going to use this because this is going to take up like my whole, pretty much my whole space. And I don't want that. I want to be able to decide where I want to put this honeycomb, and I want to break it up. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I have my these three main ones highlighted. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here where it says add to canvas, and I'm going to click it. And what that's going to do is it's going to drop it all right there on my screen. And you're going to notice like these things are all different sizes. So don't worry about that. Come up to a blank space on the screen, click that, and what it does is it unlocks everything that's there. This bee is ginormous, so I'm going to click the bee, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to my size. So it's right up here. You watch my little mouse come up, and it's right here. I wish I could change the color of the mouse so you guys could see that. And we're going to just reset the size. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my BB 1 inch. So this has the lock button up here. So right above where the width and the height is the lock button. So I'm going to leave that locked for now. And I'm going to change my width to 1 inch. And what this is going to do is it's going to automatically change it to a 1x1, or it's going to keep it in perspective. Then I'll click the height button and not do anything. And so this actually changes it to 1.069, which is about 1 1/8. So here's my little bee, and I'm going to move it way over here on the side because we're not going to need that for a while. And I'm going to take my drip, and I'm going to move my drip way over here to the side. And I always like to, so I know that at 12 inches, I'm not going to be using anything that big. And then my Be Kind, I'm actually going to size that right now for my cup. So you can do this. It's good to know how big your cup is going to be when you do your initial design, and then you can alter it and change your size. This will be able to be adaptable for any size cup that you want, but it does need to be straight. Unfortunately, and for some unknown reason, Design Space still does not have the ability to warp, and that is very unfortunate. So for a 20 and a 30 ounce cup, I find that if I make this Be Kind design about 3.5 inches, and you can do it manually by click and drag, or you can actually come up here to the size and just change this to 3.5, which is 3.5, which is 1/2 of an inch. And this will auto set it so that it's supposed to be square. And so now we're going to, this is all ready, and we're going to take this and we're going to move this over. The next thing that we want to do is we need to make our honeycombs. So this is really fun and really easy, and this just takes a little bit to do. So you're going to come over here to your shapes, click on shape. If I'm going too fast for you guys that are working along, please let me know, because this is meant to be a work along. Now there's two different shapes here that I originally, when I first did it, it looks like a stop sign. Do not click this one. This is not the one that you want. You actually want this one that's here, and it's 6-sided, and it's actually the perfect shape for a honeycomb. Okay. So now we're going to offset this. So we don't want this whole thing here. We only want the outline shape. And we're going to come up to offset. And for those of you that have not used offset, it is nice. It is hinky, but it's a very nice option. So usually it defaults to something, but we don't want this big. I mean, if I clicked apply here, just change the color so y'all can see what I'm doing. So here's my, just gonna change this to a different color. Let's make it yellow. And now this is just so you guys can see what's happening here. And now we're gonna do our offset. And you can see here when I apply this how huge this is. And that's too thick in my mind. And again, you can play around with this. I think that, you know, it's just very big, and I don't want it to be that big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo it. And then I'm going to re-offset it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start and take a look. And so this is 1/4 of an inch. Now we're going to size down. So it would be 125, which would be half of that amount. So this is very muchly what your preferences are, what you like. Click apply and see if you like that length or that width. The other thing that I highly recommend that you do is size your honeycomb now to how big you want, and I do 1 inch. So I'm going to click the 1. So it fits in this little block just perfectly, and that's what I'm going to use as a guideline. Direct. And I didn't grab the whole thing. I'm going to do it 1 inch. Okay. And then this will fit perfectly right inside one of those little blocks. So I like that. I think that that's going to work pretty well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice it. And what it's going to do is it's going to leave me with an outline. And then this stuff here, you just get rid of. Just delete it. Okay, so we're going to need a whole bunch of these. So the way that you replicate is you can either come up, is it up the top to replicate, but what I do, you can do it on the side. What I like to do is I'll just highlight it, right click with the mouse, and you're going to see duplicate, and then you duplicate. And now, before I duplicate too many, I need to change how this goes, because right now, if you tried to line this up, it will work just fine. But what I like to do is I like to actually have one of the points be straight up and down. And again, once it's in this block, it's really convenient, because then you can size this and use those lines as a guide. So now I know that this is going to be straight. Okay, so this is the one we're working with, and this is the one we're going to get rid of. So we're going to duplicate a few of these, and I'm going to show you how to make this really easy. Okay, so a honeycomb starts off with, you're going to put them in a row. So let's do 3. And then before I like to leave a little space in between mine. You don't have to. If you want to move it right over and weld those together so that they're like that, you can do that too. But I do kind of like the look. And when you actually look at a honeycomb, you'll see in between each of these little spaces, there's actually a little buildup of wax, the beeswax. So we're going to do that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to group it. And then we're going to duplicate that. And what it's going to do is it's going to duplicate that row. So I'm going to make several of these. Okay. So oh no, let's move these out of the way. These are grouped together, so we're going to be able to ungroup them and remove stuff. But I'm just kind of gathering my materials, so to speak, right now. And then I'm going to duplicate all of these again. So you can duplicate as many as you want. Now sometimes it will move them into strange places like that, and then you're just going to kind of take all your stuff and put it together. All right. Next thing that we want to do is we want to have our base template for our cup. So the wrap that I want to do is I'm going to actually be doing it on, this one will be on a 20-ounce cup. So I'm using a Hog 20 ounce, which I found that if I do 9.25, so let's get a shape here. We want the square. Make sure it's not this one, which actually if you look, this has a rounded edge. This has a nice crisp point on the edge. So this is the one that you want. And then you're going to size that. So I like to do 9.25. Unlock it. That didn't work well. Okay, and then my height. So this is my width, which is that wraps around the cup. Now I want to do my height. And generally I like to stop a little bit short. So it's usually like 8.2. I'm going to do 8 because I don't ever go all the way down to where it starts to round on the bottom of the cup. And then I know that this is going to fit. Okay, so this is my template so that I know that when I'm placing my objects, all of the stuff over here, that it's going to fit. And then I change this to, let's just use yellow or this gold color so you can see it very easily. And if you have questions as we're going along, please feel free. So now the first thing is we're going to take our B and we're going to put that in the middle. Now where is it? Oh my gosh, it's gone, right? No, it's not gone. You come up here to arrange and you'll see these options. You're going to bring it to front and it will move it into the front. And then you can position this wherever you want it to be. I kind of like it. I usually start off with centering it. So to center, you're going to grab both things. So you just take your mouse, click below and draw up. And you can see how it's grabbing all of that. And then this option will pop up, which is align. Click align. And this gives you all these cool options of where you want it to go. You can do left, horizontal, vertically. I generally just come here to center and I click it and that puts that right in the center. So if I like it there, I'm not sure. Let me see how this is going to work out, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my drip and I want to put my drip in there. And I want to make sure that this is going to work. So the width is across and the height is up and down. So I want my drip to probably come down on my cup about 2.5 inches. So I come over here to height, change it to 2.5. You can use 2.50. So everything is in increments of 100. When it comes to measurement. So half of 100 is 50. So that's where that 0.50 would come in. If you're going to do less than that, it varies. So you kind of have to decide how tall you want it to be. First thing I'm going to do is I want this to come in the front, because if not, it's going to hide behind here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange it again, and I'm going to click bring to front, and now it will sit on top. And yeah, it's a little short, but don't worry about that yet. Okay, so I also want to move this up to the top. So we're working with the 0. So make sure that when you're working with your objects, you're kind of up here in the corner so that you know where your placements are. And believe me, I've done this a bunch of times when I was learning, and I'd start off and I was like an inch or two down into my design, and then when I placed everything was off skew. So you do want to make sure that you're up at the very top where it's 0, 0 in the corner, and then you have your numbers here on the top and on the side so that you can pay attention to what you're doing. Again, you can manually drag or you can set it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, I like to do this part this way just so that I can visually see what I'm doing. So first I want to reline my bee and put him in the center, or her in the center, because I really don't want this drip hanging down over my bee. Be kind. And that is probably the focal point of the cup. So we want to make sure that it's there. And for some reason, this keeps moving, and it shouldn't be doing that. At this point, I've got a bunch of stuff over here on the side. I've already sized my Be Kind. I want to make sure that this isn't going to vanish on me, because for some reason, at least for me, I find that my program crashes a lot. So I'm going to click Save. I'm going to give it a label. And now I'm going to click Save. And so now I know that if my program crashes out, at least this far into my process, I'm okay. I'm saved. So come back to your drip, and now you size it to wherever you want it to be. And as we pull it, it's going to get larger. If you don't like at the top, maybe you want this to be a little bit thicker. It really depends on what you want. Sometimes it's just not quite what you want it to be. And I think I would like a little more for my drip, because this is the very, very rim of the cup. And that just to me doesn't seem like it's quite enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it down just a touch, maybe a 1/4 of an inch. And again, I'm going to save. Now everything's still movable because we haven't locked anything and we haven't exited out of the program. Now we need to duplicate this because of course it's not wide enough. So again, the same process, right click, duplicate. And I'm sorry for those of you who know how to do all this, but this is really designed as a beginner class. Now, I'm going to merge these two, but if I put it here, you see how like I have this sort of ugly, it doesn't really stay uniform. So what I want to do is I'm going to move this over so that it looks the way I want it to. And again, so see if you line that up right there and you take that out of there, it does keep it nice. And then all this up here, what we're going to do is we're going to click the left one and the right one. Make sure that that's all that you're clicking, and it should show over here what you have highlighted. And now I'm going to weld the two of them together. And now these are permanent. Now I want to get rid of my excess. So I'm going to shorten this just a little bit because, like I said, I don't want the strip to really come down into here where the letters are. I don't want it interfering with that. But I also want to make sure that I don't, because there's a little gap on this side. When it wraps around my cup, I do want the back to look uniform as well. So this is where all of this kind of comes into play, where you're going to kind of look here and say, okay, well, if I stop it here and I cut this off, is it going to work? Well, you can clearly see it's not going to work, because this line, if you come straight across, it's going to leave like a gap right there. So again, I'm going to shorten this just a bit. And I'm going to take it to that point. Now there's less of a gap. And because I'm going to be using tumbler tape, when I pull that off, I'm going to be able to just cut just a little tiny bit with an X-Acto. Or if you don't want to do that, you can actually take and move. I'm going to group these two things together because I don't want my bee to move. Okay, now I'm going to put my drip back over the front. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my yellow part over. Again, paying attention to where I'm going. And I actually like that. You see here, this point of the drip and this point of the drip, they're pretty much at the same level. So this is where I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to highlight everything, meaning the yellow and the black. And I'm going to, it's not going to let me, because what's happened here is, you see how this is down here with all this, so I need to pick this up and move it out of the way. And then I need to unlock this. So we're only dealing with the background, which is the yellow, and this black. Now the slice option comes up. When you're trying to do something and you notice, like, where's my slice option? Why is it not coming up? Well, it's not coming up because something else is interfering with it, whether there's something on the side, because it's only going to slice one thing off of one other thing. So if you have like two objects, like I had the bee and this, but they were grouped together, so the program is thinking, well, that's two things there, and then I'm trying to slice this off, it's rejecting it. So the slice button did not come up. Okay, now we're going to slice this out. Okay, and now we're going to pull off what we don't need. And you notice, see how this is just coming. Let me move this down a little bit. See, there's my bits that I don't need. Again, clean your screen as you go and get rid of it. You don't want a whole bunch of debris, a whole bunch of extra stuff on there. Okay, so this is the perfect size for my cup. And if you lose your bee, okay, I've lost my bee. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Be careful here. We're going to get rid of this. I just lost my bee, and that's okay. And this is where there are flaws with Design Space. So we're going to delete this. Don't panic, because it's all there. And then we're going to pull this down, because you basically use this as a template to slice, so it's going to leave an extra bit. We're going to get rid of the yellow. And this is why people get frustrated with design. So we're going to come back to upload. We're going to re-get our bee. We're going to put it back on the canvas. And there it is. So no harm, no foul, no big deal. And now we're going to take and make ourselves a clean background to work on. Going to make it the yellow again. We're going to size it to what we want it to be, which is 9.25 by 8. Always remember, if you're going to have something that's going to not be like it's a square. So originally we started off with a square, which let's say was 9.25 by 9.25, but I don't want it to be at that height. You need to unlock so that it will actually do the dimensions that you want it to do. Okay, so now let's put our bee back in the middle. Can't tell you how often this weirdness happens. Okay, let's put our bee back. We're going to arrange and bring to front. I'm going to get it. Okay. Going to get our thing out of the way. Put him back in the middle. Okay, so now we're going to start placing our honeycombs. So, again, you can actually group, select all your honeycombs and hit arrange and bring to front. So now when you drop them, they're actually going to move. So we're going to start off by building I wish I could get rid of this thing on the side because it takes up a lot of space. Okay. So now I want to sort of see, and I do use my grid lines here in order to kind of keep me on track so that I know that when I'm placing stuff, because we already know that we're going to have a wrap. We already know actually that a part of this is going to come around the cup, and we don't want that getting in the way. So again, this is where design comes in. You don't need to do it my way. You can do it your way with the placements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. And remember, we just grouped these. So you can actually arrange them. Click ungroup. And then let's say I don't want this one here. Maybe I just want to have one down at the bottom. And I'm going to just move it. And maybe I want to have one more here. And then I'm going to ungroup. And I'm going to get rid of these guys. See? So there's that. I do put the honeycombs in. I keep this drip out of the way because I actually like to put some up at the top. But I do want to kind of have a guide so I know when I'm placing these. You can come all the way to the edge. You can even overlap. If you want to overlap and only have a part of your comb there, you do have to remember that you need to ungroup these. And then you need to slice this off. But usually slicing, I tend to do as I go along because once you slice it, you need to remove the background and replace it with a clean one. So sometimes what I'll do is I will actually duplicate and move it down here so that if I get rid of this, I slice something, I can just drag this right up there and it just makes it faster for me. So slice. And I'm going to keep that half because maybe I'll want to put that half on the other side. Okay. Now do remember though, so we're going to get rid of this. Here's our design. We want to make sure we're going to pull this other one because you see the yellow one that's underneath because it's sliced through. That's okay. Save that one. And just come over here. Click those, and up here in your color, basic cut, and then this little question mark is where your color blocks are. Click that. It turns it to black. You're all good. Put your design back up and then drop it in the back. Now I have two here. I'm going to grab those two. And I'm going to drop them right in here. See how the honeycombs build? And I do, like I said, I like that little bit of space in between. I just think it looks more realistic. Maybe, whoops. One touch and it just jerks everything around into the weirdest places. It's probably one of my biggest issues with the program. Okay, here I know I'm going to duplicate another one of these. Again, save. Now again, we've done a lot of work here, so don't be afraid to use your save. Now, if you're worried about not liking something and say, oh, well, I really liked it better the other way, that when you save, you can actually do what's called, instead of save, you can use a save as. And what that will do is that will actually make it a separate file, and I will frequently do that as well. So here where you save, and then it says save or save as. Any changes that you make, you'll get a new, when you go to save, the save button will come up. If you re-click it again, only save as comes up. So it's kind of like, is what it is. Okay, so I'm liking how my bee things are. Now we don't always have to do a lot. We can only, you can do a few random ones. So I'm gonna try and get this along the same line, roughly. Go here. I'm gonna need more. You need lots of these. I'm gonna do here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm going to take this one, I'm going to put it there. And then I think I'm going to, so these are still grouped. I'm going to ungroup everything. I want to make it sort of staggered. I don't want it to be all uniform. And again, this is just part of the design process, and you can put them wherever you want. This one's not quite right. There we go. Okay. I think maybe one more here will be good. So again, we're going to duplicate. And I only group them just because it's easier, when you're duplicating, to do more than one at a time. And I'm liking how that's starting to look. Remember, we need to slice this off, or if we don't want to do that, we can just get rid of that. And I kind of like that too. I want to put maybe one. Here. Now you can take them right down into the bottom like this and chop that off. So, but if you're going to do that, what I recommend that you do is take, because these are only grouped. Remember, they're only grouped. Oh, see what I mean? It always goes to the real high numbers too, like the 200s, 300s when I'm doing that. Okay. So I have my singles here. There's a triple. Okay, so this is just grouped. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to weld them together. Makes my process a little bit easier. I'm going to drop these where I want them. So this is going to be right down at the bottom of the tumbler. And I like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice this out. So I'm going to take the yellow, which you can do it on the side too, through this scroll bar here on the side. This will show you all of the things that are on your page. So I want to do this yellow part and then hold down the shift button and then click on just that bottom part, because I just wanted to grab it. And now I'm going to slice. And what it's going to do is it's going to let me get rid of that. And then I'm going to take my yellow. I'm going to get rid of that. Now remember, there's a double layer here. We're going to pull this one off. Again, put it off to the side. Sometimes these little ones, they actually come in handy. And then I want to change this to black. Okay. So there's our part of our design. I'm going to take our yellow. I'm going to drop it back up. What happened? That's actually good that happened, so I can show you how to fix it. Okay, do you see here? What happened was when I grabbed something at some point, it blended these two things together. It actually took it and made this whole thing one. So what I need to do... No, it didn't. Okay. All right. Let's put this in the background again. And that will happen sometimes. You'll go and you'll merge something or weld it together, and it will grab something below. So you really want to make sure when you're designing that you have nothing close. That's why I take all my extra stuff and I put it way over on the side. Sometimes I'll even use like this little slide bar, and I'll slide it, and then I'm sure that it's not going to interfere. It's not going to get there. So my yellow bit has to go back to the back again. And this is where we're at. Okay. So we're almost done. And again, you can put them in as many as you want or however you want or whatever. I find sometimes that less is more. So when you're designing a cup like this, maybe you don't want to have a whole lot of clutter in there. Is anybody doing this with me? Are you guys all just watching, or are you kind of trying to work along? All right, so now this one here, I might try and use this on the side just to sort of see. I don't think so. Okay, I think we are good. Alrighty. So now we're going to clean up our canvas when it lets us. Done a lot of work. Remember to save. Okay, so now we're going to take all of our extra stuff that we don't need, and we're going to get rid of it. So all those little pieces. Remember, you can always add more later. Okay. This I'm pretty happy with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the yellow and I'm going to move it off to the side. I'm not going to move any of this stuff, but what I want to do is I'm going to grab all of this and I'm going to weld it together. So none of this is now going to move. Okay, Lisa, if you're working along, are you understanding everything? Are you figuring it out? Is there anything that you need me to explain better? Are you having any difficulties? Okay. So now we're going to put our yellow back again. All right, now it's time for the fun part. So we're going to put our bees in. Now, this is the bee, and I like this bee. I thought this bee was really cute, but it's kind of big because I want it to actually sort of fit nicely in there. So what I did was I sized my bee basically to 1 inch. And I think that that's good because you can see them. It takes a little bit with the honeycombs. It really does. So what I did was I found that if I grouped 3 together, 2 together, and then had a single, and I sort of played with how they looked. And when I liked it, I'd sort of click it and I would duplicate everything and then put those off to the side, and then I would actually weld together the configuration that, like, so for example, if I did this one here and I really liked how that looked and I knew that I wasn't going to want to change it, I would weld it, all that together. And you could even duplicate that and put it in another place if you liked it. So our bee, we're going to kind of like, I want them to be working. So they're worker bees. So we can decide, you know, like, I don't want to add a whole lot of these because I really want the queen to be the focus. So I'm going to duplicate a couple of these. Maybe, I think 3. 3 is nice. So these would be the drones. And then you can just pop them anywhere. Now, the thing is that when you have the bee and you're going to lay it over one of these, you kind of want to make sure that the black part is actually kind of over where your black is. If not, what it does is it gives you some weird cut lines with the, you know, using tumbler tape or a vinyl. And then when you go to pull it off, you end up with a strange little strip in there. So I try to make sure that when I place it, for example, if you see here, so, drat. Let me undo. And what I'm going to do is I want to put this drone right over. So his little black stripe would be like right there. So now when it cuts it, it's going to, and I'm going to actually weld those together when I'm sure that I like where they're placed. This guy, I think I want to put him sort of work in there. And you can remember, you can change the direction by either using this little arrow, so you can drag it around, or you can do it up here where it says rotate. Personally, I honestly find it way easier just to kind of drag it into where I want it to be. Remember, these are pretty small, so you do not want to make them a whole lot smaller because sometimes it just doesn't cut properly. Okay. I think I will make him just a teeny tiny bit smaller. Just a little. And I'm going to move him back just a twinge. Okay. What do you think? I'm liking it. Okay, so I'm really happy with how this looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, oopsie. Remember, undo is your friend. I'm going to hit the save button. Or save as, whichever you prefer. And then take and move your yellow out of the way. This is just a guide to keep you in. You're not going to leave that there unless you want to have a square cut line. I personally find that when I'm doing tumbler tape that it's so much easier for me to cut it myself. I use my little paper cutter thing. It's so much easier than trying to have the Cricut do it, because like this part would be one part, one design, and then this would be a second cut. And I always cut twice when I'm doing a design like this that has like a lot of detail in it, without unloading my mat. All right, so now I need to merge these things. So again, I'm going to get this out of my way. I'm going to get my yellow out of the way, and you can click that. And remember, you can use your arrow keys too if you really want to, but okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start way over here, and I'm going to draw my hand in like this and make this, and I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to weld that. Now that B, if you notice that this happens, it means that this guy is not placed right. So his little foot is actually hanging into the comb. And what it's doing is, so it's blacking it out. So we need to move him a little bit. So we're going to grab, because we welded everything else together and the bees are on their own, it's going to be easier to drag them over here. I need to move all this out of the way. I need a little space on the left. So we're going to take these and we're just going to move this over a little bit. Now we have some wiggle room, some space to play. Let's start here. Now let's try welding him and make sure that he's not going to do something funny. Okay, so this guy worked great. Now let's do this one over here. Weld him. Okay, so now the only one that's left is this guy, and this guy was the problem. So I'm putting this back over here. Now I have to place him. You could put him up here if you really wanted to, but I think that interferes with this, with the queen. And I want the drones to be working essentially. So his feet cannot be touching the sides. So we want to make sure that when we place him, he's just kind of not in these little hands that come out. Let me try this one here. There's always one that gives you trouble. There we go. That's perfect. Awesome sauce. Again, we'll move our background back. I'm going to line this back up again. So this is all set. It's perfect. Very happy. And now it's time to put our drip in. Now, again, like I said, if you didn't like how that was, and you wanted maybe this to be down just a little bit, and you wanted to have a little more black up at the top, which is what I really would like to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a little black line to the top. So we'll come to shapes. Going to grab our square. We're going to bring this right up to the top. Oops, sorry. Unlock it. Right up to the top. I'm going to kind of overlap it. And And now I'm going to drag it, and it relocked itself. Of course, you could do this the easy way. Once you get this in position, now you know that you want to have it the 9.25. So your width, make sure it's unlocked up here. Come to your width. And now it's just right. Now, you're going to notice here that these are two different colors. So when I added this, it sort of made it gray and not black. I want to make sure that this is black. And that's how that's going to look. Again, remember what I said? I didn't like the fact that I did not want that to be in there. So I'm going to make this a little shorter. I'm going to pull this down to where I want it to be. Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of my yellow. Again, design stuff. I'm contemplating putting one here too, but maybe not. And then just give it a look and see if you like it. Sometimes you can move these up, move these down. This is where if you waited to put this central piece in, or you didn't lock it in, then you'd be able to shift it around and move it. But if you've made a commitment like that, unfortunately we can't go back. So what we can do is we can take our design. I'm going to slide this down like so. I'm going to grab my circle. I'm going to size this. Unlock it. Can kind of really get in here and okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all this and I'm going to slice. I'm going to get rid of this. And now to clean up these little bits. The cleanup process should be much easier than they make it. Just grab a shape. Come in here and just put this here. Grab the whole thing, slice. And again, like I said, this is really designed for people who've never done this before. And slice. Take your good part, move it down, and then get rid of all this. Make sure there's nothing there. Okay, now let's put it back up to where it belongs. Okay. And now we're going to come back over here to upload. We're going to grab our B. I'm going to add it back to the canvas. Going to resize it again. Like I said, I like about 3.25, 3.5 for my centerpiece. And I'm going to pop it right there. So this is 3.5. Okay. I'm happy with that. Now I have my drip. It's down into my honeycomb, which I wanted. I have my little worker bees. If you wanted to put another bee up there, you totally could, but you don't have to. And essentially your design is done. The only last thing that you need to do is not do that, but you're going to take, and you need to merge all of this. If you didn't want those letters in there and you wanted to put your own saying, like maybe believe, B-E-E hyphen L-I-E-V-E, that would be really cute. So over here, let's say I didn't want the be kind, I just wanted my B and I wanted to put something else up there. Over here, you're going to unlock, see these are just grouped together when you can tell because this line here will say ungroup. You can delete all these letters. I personally don't like this font. Let's see if we can. So I'm going to move this down here. I want to get a text block. So the reason that I do this is because the text blocks, when you use the text, it's a pain in the bum. I'm not going to lie. And it drops it up here, and then here you are, and you're trying to grab it. You can't see what's going on because it puts this stupid thing that says texts in here. So you want to highlight that, and then you're going to come over here. Oh, this little thing. So font, so there's some font websites that are free, that are fantastic. DeFont is really great. That's one that I base it. There are thousands of fonts, like thousands of them. You can pretty much find anything that you want. There are some pay sites which are great too. Like I think there's one called Creative Fabrica or something like that. I hear nothing but good things about it, but I've never used them. I don't know for sure. I really love DeFont. There's a couple of other places that sometimes will have free fonts too, which are, oh God, I can't remember the name. Design something. I'm always seeing ads on Facebook for it too. But they have all kinds of stuff. It's awesome. I'll find the link and I'll post it for you guys. I'm sorry, I can't think. Okay, so I want to change this text because I'm really not happy with this. I did this design as a mock-up basically, so you'd see how it goes. And I did post a picture of it. And when you do tumbler tape, and then I used this beautiful, it was a honey chunky glitter. I can't remember. I think it was called Copper Tone or something like that. It's from BJ's Glitter. It was absolutely beautiful. And I also used a little bit of their matching fine glitter to, because you have to have a fine and a chunky when you're doing tumbler tape. And I explained that in another live. And it was beautiful. The problem is that this lettering did not show up. So I'm going to actually redo my lettering. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on our text. Sorry, and get the T, highlight all of that. Now we're going to find a font. So, and it's not going to work. Is that, son of a gun. Up here, where it says Cricut Sans is your thing. All right, so this is a mistake that a lot of people make. If you're not paying for Cricut, whatever the monthly thing is, your fonts are very limited. You need to make sure that you go to System. Now, these are the fonts that either you put in or, because I don't even deal with their stuff, because I found some fonts and I thought that they were going to, be part of my subscription. And what ended up happening was then they tried to charge me for them. So that's not cool. The other problem is that like if I decide someday that I don't want to use Cricut anymore and maybe I want to put it on Silhouette, or maybe I'm working with Silhouette, and you know, kind of like merging things into Cricut because I only have a maker, so I would merge it. Then what you would do, that's going to be a whole nother tutorial, Dusky. I'll do a whole nother tutorial on it because it's not hard. It's honestly not hard at all. But these are all things that I grabbed from free font sites, so that I have a really nice selection. You have to be careful what you're picking because some of those really scrolly, pretty ones, they are so difficult to work with. So what we're going to do here is, I like this font here. This is called Monotype Corsiva. I got this from Da Font. Now let's try it. So let's try B. Oh, hold on. I think we need to hit the curve button first. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So this is a new experience. Oh, wow, that's funky looking, huh? Okay, new experience for me. Let's try this again. Once you click on this box, other things come up. So you're going to have your font name, the style. So the style, either it's going to come up just as regular, or sometimes it'll come up as bold or italic. Not every font will do that. Letter spacing. So this is for kerning your text. Your line space, how tall. So letter space is the width. You'll see the little arrow here. Line space is the up and down. So this is the height of it. So if you look, let's see if we can get it to work. I don't see a whole lot of change. So hey, it's always fun to play around with, right? I'm going to do some research on that. Then there's the alignment button, which is right, left, or center of how your text is going to be. There's advanced stuff over here, which I've never ungrouped to letters. And then there's your curve. So we do want to have a slight curve in our text. And here's our diameter. So this is really almost like a circle as it comes down. You can tip it. So this is pretty much like you're going to play. You just play with it. So the first thing we're going to do is let's start back to 0, which I believe is going to be 50. Let's see if that happens. All right. Since I jerked around with it, let me get rid of this and we'll start a fresh block. Okay, text. There we go. Okay, so this is the start. We're going to click on our text block and kind of highlight. I'm going to highlight everything. If you double click it, it will highlight everything. Now let's just type in what we want. We want to have, do we want to have the dots? I don't know. I don't know if that's totally necessary. So let's do B space kind. Now you can kern these if you want, which would mean that you need to move these over. So you would have to ungroup them. And then you use your arrow key and you slide them so that they're a little closer. You don't want them touching or overlapping. They can touch but not overlap, because what ends up happening is when you go to print it, it will fill in these spaces for some reason. I don't know why. I really don't. So I like the way that looks. And now the kind, what I want to do is this, I'm going to move my D over just a little bit. Again, I'm just using the arrow key. I've tried to do it with my, you can do it up here too, but I'm a dinosaur and I do it the way I do it. I use the arrow keys. I just find it so much easier. And then I want to move my eye over into my kind, because I think that looks kind of cool like that. Gonna move. Okay, I have my N and my D where I want, so you can actually grab the two of them and move it all at once. Okay, so kind of like how that looks. Now this is where we want to decide, do we want to put those dots in there or do we not want to put dots? Because if you look at the original, it had those two dots there. I think actually, had I thought of it, I think it would look pretty awesome to put like two little bees there. But now that I have the drones in the honeycomb, I think that would be overkill. So maybe the next one I'll do it like that, because two little bees. Okay, now we're going to grab our, highlight everything again. Oh shoot, you know what? Oh yay. Well, here's another issue with their problem. Oh shit. Sorry. Oh, God. Come on. Hello, design space. Really? Wow. Okay, there we go. I had to double click it to get them all. And it's only going to let me do the E because I ungrouped it. So this is where this program falls down big time. So now we're going to take kind and we're going to weld it. And now, do you see here that all of my options went away? We basically have to start over again. And I don't understand why they can't fix this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to curve it and then we'll fiddle with it. Okay. So if you go to the right, it comes down. If you go to the left, it goes up. Now I'm just going to make this smaller. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to overlay this so that I kind of have an idea where I am. Okay. Now I'm going to smallen this down a little bit, and I'm just using my thing. It's basically the same size as what was there. Just go a little bit smaller. Okay. So that's what it looks like on the side. And it actually is okay. It looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click. So I like this. I'm going to weld it together because I'm happy with it. Now you're going to click on your B. You're going to ungroup your B. And now we're going to get rid of what's here. So we have the B. I'm going to delete it. And basically you just kind of come down like this. And now I want to click on the dots and get rid of those. If you didn't want these flowers, I think that there would be a way to cut those out too, but I really like those. Okay, now here's my bee kind. And I'm going to put, so what I want to do is I want to grab the two of them. I want to align those. So first I'm going to click center because now I know that this is going to be perfectly centered. And now I'm going to click like align top. Okay. So now I know it's where it needs to be. So it's going to be perfectly centered over the B. And now I'm going to use my arrow key, which is basically on my laptop. It's right here. It could be different where yours is. And I'm just tapping that, and I'm going to place it where I want it to be. Doot. Now remember what I said about things touching, so we don't want things touching with the B, because it could potentially, this only seems to happen with fonts. It does weird things to the letters. So I'm going to take my Be Kind, I'm going to turn it to black. Now, if you wanted other colors, if you were cutting it in vinyl and you were going to cut these things in different colors, that's a whole nother thing. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lettering, I'm going to take my B, I'm going to move that down just a little bit. I'm going to weld the two of them together because I'm happy with the way that looks. And now my B, if you look over here. So this is what this looks like now. And now we want to get rid of these extra things. Okay. And now we're going to put him in the middle. So, or you can hand place it and decide, do I like it here? Do I want it down a little bit? Do I want to add more honeycomb up here? It's really, like I said, at this stage, this is totally you, and you decide what you like and what you don't like. Maybe you want this bigger. Remember, this is your cup. This is the whole cup, and it's going to wrap around. So you really wouldn't want to make this like ginormous like that, because that would actually, as it wrapped around the cup, I think you would lose a lot of the focus on it. I've honestly found that the 3.5 inch mark, it will align really nicely. And so I'm going to put this here. And what do you guys think? Again, now we're going to save because we've done a lot of work. I would say save. When in doubt, save or save as. Like if it's something that you're noodling around with and you're not sure if you're going to like it, do it as a save as. And give it another name like test 1, test 2, however you want to do that. Because honestly, once you save it and you exit out of the program, you can't go back. Like while we're actively working on it, and again, another defect, you can't make changes if something's welded together. So we've welded it and then we're like, oh, okay, I'm going to go have lunch. You shut it off. Well, now you're committed. If it's just grouped or it's just placed, then you can make changes. Okay. I like it. And I'm so excited to do it. Okay, so now, again, what I like to do, I don't think I fixed that, did I? No, I didn't. Okay. So remember I had put the thing up at the top for my thingy here. All right. Did I group this in? No, I didn't. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do this now. So what I'm doing is I have this black strip because I wanted to make my drip a little longer. I have my black strip here, and now let's move this out of the way. I'm going to bring this right up. And the only reason that I have this yellow here is so it keeps me on track so that I know that I'm working within the parameters of what the cup is going to be. You can, once this is done, you're going to be able to size this. Let's say you had a 14 ounce or you had a 40, a 40 ounce. Well, then all you need to do is get those measurements, pop them into here, into the size, and it's going to recalibrate everything so that it looks right. Keeps it uniform. So like I said, the only reason that we're working with this block behind here is so that it keeps us at the right shape of the cup. Okay, so I have my two pieces together. Now I need to, oops, look at that. I grabbed it and I moved it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag. I'm making sure that my little extra line is only over what I'm actually going to merge together, which is weld. It didn't grab this, and it didn't grab these. And the way that you tell for sure is move them out of the way. There's nothing more frustrating, believe me. Okay, so now I'm going to merge these two together, or weld them together. I call it merging, but you guys can call it whatever you want. Weld it, and now it's all one piece. Like so. Just moving things out of the way at this point, just making sure. So this side menu, really helpful, because let's say I had something, and this canvas is ginormous. Now, why this thing is so big, I'll never understand, because you can't cut. I guess maybe it's for doing something, I don't know, because you can only cut by, I think it's 11.5 by 11.5, so I don't know why they give you like 300 inches. I know you can do banners and stuff, but still, it's like, or 24 if you have the big mat. Okay, let's put it back together. Let's make sure that this is where it's supposed to be. So again, checking my yellow piece to make sure that it is the size of the cup that I want, which is 9.25 by 8. Now I'm going to put, because I've already layered this stuff, I know that this is going to be okay. My B's go down at the bottom, and I'm lining up my bottom so that, because I cut this off, so that's all there. Dagnabbit. Again, if maybe you decided, you know what, I kind of don't want that there. Maybe I want to move this over so that it's more like this. That's okay. You can do that if you want to. I frequently will do that, and then you have to remember to slice it out. But, okay. And see, what I like is that where I have my drip, it's actually dripping down into the honeycomb, which is, I like that. I just didn't want it in my letters. Okay, so this is all pulled together. Now I'm going to place this back where it was. Again, look at it, check it, see if you like it. You're happy with it. Awesome. Then let's get rid of our yellow. Sometimes it's a little hard. If you can't grab it without shifting and moving everything, one of the easiest ways to do it is use the side menu, click the piece that you want, and then use your arrow key. And what it will do is slide it over, and then you can grab it and get rid of it. Move it off to the side, and now this is what your design is actually going to look like. If you want to see it without the grid marks, you just click this little box in between the zeros and it gives you a white screen. I'm sorry. All right, it's time to save. So we're going to grab everything. And we make sure that this block is all the way around everything. And now we're going to save. And what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to save as. And see, I have my B. And this puts a 1 at the end, but I'm going to change that 1 to finished. Because maybe there's something that I didn't like, or here's another thing I can do. Okay. This is finished. Now, let's say I wanted to use another design here in the middle. So what I would do is come to my project. So here's my finished one. That's my yellow bit that I'm actually going to delete. Here's my bee, but this is the one that I was just working on where things are movable. So I'm going to customize. I'm going to take my bee and I'm going to move this out. And now maybe I want to have something else. So I'm going to upload and maybe use this one. And again, I'm going to change this. So I want to have it at like 3.5. Let's start there and see. Boop. Well, that didn't work. Undo, because I see what I did. I unlocked it. Sorry. I like making mistakes, though, when I'm doing a live, because then you can see how to fix it. Okay, this is for some reason unlocked, so we want to lock it. And now we're going to take our width and we're going to do 3.5. And this should auto change it. Yep, perfect. And now we're going to put our bee in there. And here we can fiddle with it and say, okay, well, that's not quite big enough. Maybe I want it to be a little bit bigger. And how about that? So do you see the value of having a couple of saves in there? Now, you know what would be really cool is, let's say you want to add a name in here. So what you would do is you could move this down, or you can move it up, get rid of maybe this one, and put the person's name underneath or above. That would be pretty cool too. You could curve it and put a person's name. And there you go. So that's how you do that. And then we would do save as again. And so this would be, let's say, queen bee. And then final. So that's a very easy way to save yourself a whole lot of time. You could make a template and then make it customizable by aligning these things so, you know, you would put the person's name above or below. Okay, now with our bee, again, I have this group together. So if I wanted to move, like make my crown bigger, put my crown underneath bee, put my queen bee up above, I can do all that. I can totally do all that by simply moving this stuff around by ungrouping. I can move, whoopsie. I can move this up if I want to. I could put it on the side if I want it. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of versatility here with grouping, using the group option while you're designing. Maybe I don't want the crown, you know, actually the crown is in several pieces. Maybe you don't want to be, maybe you just want a crown. There's so many things that you can do. Once you learn how to do this stuff, it is just so great. Again, totally up to you. You're the designer. You can do whatever you want to do. And that is the beauty of design. You do want to be careful when you're adding a design. So we've already finished this and we've saved this with the drip. I would want the drip to be hanging over this. So what you would do, let's say we wanted to put this crown up here. I'm going to just show you this. Okay, let me get my yellow. Move it out of the way. Ding, ding. Okay. All right, so when I put, let me show you. I'm going to change the crown color to, I don't know, orange. Not that it'll stay there, but as you notice, when I put this here, it's over the drip. I don't want it over the drip. I want it behind the drip. So what I'm going to do is click Arrange and Send Back. And just see now, it's behind the drip. And that's how you would do that. Be careful when you're clicking the undo button. If you click it too rapidly, it will crash your system. You also have a limited amount of backspace clicks that you can do, which is very annoying. Like very annoying. So that's why it is important to save frequently and save as. So here's my queen bee. Put her back. Maybe I like this. Let's try this. All right, let's put this up here. Going to put that right there. Now where's my bee? And I'll put my queen bee here. Let's move that back in. All right. Again, you can adjust however you want. So I hope this tutorial helped you guys and that it was useful. And I love feedback, like I said, so I would love to hear from you what you thought. And you know, I hope that I encourage you to try it if you haven't. Again, you're not limited to just the bee design. You can do anything that you want to do. Oh, it's totally cool. And I think that this worked out pretty well with the camera and everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed, like I said, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. I will upload this onto my channel, and yeah, that's it. So you guys have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye now.